I got fat. Well, not really, but I have gained over 5 kilos in under 5 months.
The last time I weighed myself, I was 57 kilos, so what the has happened?
And you know what? I actually don't regret a single second of it. Sometimes in our lives, our weight will fluctuate, and that is completely okay. I enjoyed myself this summer, like really enjoyed myself. But now has come the time to start my bulk, and I really don't feel like starting it at the same weight that I usually end my bulk at. So over the next 60 days, I will be entering into a short but sweet fat loss phase to lose all of the pounds before packing them back on again. Hopefully in muscle next time. Today I'll be walking you through my entire plan for success, including my training, cardio,
I really don't want to do that,
and the supplements I'll be taking to hopefully in the next 60 days get as shredded as humanly possible. Or as humanly possible for me. Okay, first up, let's talk about my diet, which is honestly completely all over the place right now. Over the past few months, I honestly stopped counting calories, stopped making the best food choices, and tried crumble for the first and last time in my life. I think about crumble every single day since, I will not lie to you. So step one, I will be going back to tracking my calories and going in a calorie deficit, but first we need to figure out my maintenance calories to do this. Tracking your calories isn't entirely necessary if you're trying to lose weight, but for me personally, it just takes the guesswork out of the equation, because now I won't have to think about if I'm going over my daily calories, and I know that if I stay under my allotted calorie amount that I will be losing weight. Now, in an ideal world, I would have tracked my food and my weight over summer, so I would know a rough maintenance calorie number for my weight right now. But I live in the real world and did not do that. But thankfully for me, finding your maintenance calories is actually really easy, and you don't need to be exact, you just need to have a rough idea to begin with. So to figure this out, I just use an online calculator, put in all the boring little tidbits that it asks you for, and boom, we have a rough maintenance calorie number. If this number ends up being miles off in the weeks to come, I can just adjust as necessary. It really is not a big deal. You just need a rough number to begin with here. And now that I have my maintenance calories, I can set up my calorie deficit. But first, I need to decide on two things. How much weight do I want to lose, and how long do I want to be in a calorie deficit for? Since personally, I want to be in and out of this fat loss phase as quickly as possible, but also within reason, I've decided to do an 8 to 9 week fat loss phase, which I know that I can personally stick to and is something that has worked well for me in the past. I also roughly want to lose the same amount of weight that I've put on, which means that I'll be aiming to lose around 0.5 to 0.6 kilos of my body weight each week. When planning your fat loss phase, especially if you don't have a lot of excess body fat to start with, it is so important not to rush. Because yeah, you could totally lose 10 pounds in a week, but do you really think all that weight is going to be just straight up fat? Or is it going to be some muscle too? So those glutes you just spent the better part of 3 years trying to build, gone, right before your very eyes. So it's very important that we go nice and slow here to make sure we're maintaining as much muscle mass as possible while losing fat. So to keep that truck as dumpy as possible, it's best to aim to lose around 0.5 to 1% of your body weight each week. This is much more sustainable and can be kept up over a relatively long period of time.
I want cookie.
Without feeling like you're crash dieting. For me, I'll be aiming to lose around the higher end of this range, so about 0.8 to 1% of my body weight each week, which lines up perfectly with my weight loss goal of 0.5 to 0.6 kilos lost each week. Gaining weight can be super mentally challenging, especially if you've been conditioned to see it as such a negative thing. I've been through that myself, and it takes a lot of mental effort to shift your mindset and embrace your body without judgment. One thing that really helped me was opening up about what I was going through, so I would speak to my mum, my friends, or to my therapist. One therapy platform I personally used was BetterHelp, who is also the paid partner of today's video. Therapy is such a powerful tool for getting through those complex emotions, and BetterHelp offers professional online therapy that can help you address a wide range of mental challenges, including those related to weight gain and body image. Speaking with a credentialed therapist who understands what you're going through can make such a significant difference, whether you're dealing with stress, anxiety, or just need someone to talk to. If you feel like this resonates with you and you might find some help from this, you can find out more information at betterhelp.com/livewithsarah. And there's also a special offer available if you use my code LIVEWITHSARAH when you sign up. Okay, so now that we have our maintenance out of the way and how long and how much weight we want to lose, it's time to set up my deficit. And to do this, I first need to consider 3 things: calories, cardio, and macros. To create my deficit, all I'm going to do is take my maintenance calories number from before and subtract how many calories I need to burn or eat less of each week in order to reach my weight loss goal. So daily, roughly, I need to eat around 2,066 calories to maintain my my current weight, which adds up to roughly 14,462 calories over the course of a week. I also want to lose around 0.6 kilos or 1.3 pounds of fat each week. And because I know 1 pound of fat roughly equates to around 3,500 calories, to burn 1.3 pounds of fat each week, I would need to eat 4,450 calories less each week, or around 650 calories less each day. Now, before I set up my deficit and calculate my macros, I first need to think, is this a realistic calorie deficit? Am I willing and can I stick to eating 650 calories less each day? And for me, the answer is no, because I do actually have a big back.
I want you, and I'm gonna have you. We'll talk soon.
Realistically, I can eat in around 400 to 450 calorie deficits and feel pretty comfortable. So in this case, that means I need to burn an extra 200 calories every single day in order to stay in my allotted calorie deficit. So here is where our trusty friend cardio comes in. Burning 200 calories each day doing cardio probably does sound like a lot, but after scouring the internet and asking ChatGPT, it's only about 26 minutes of cycling, an hour of walking, or 20 minutes on the Stairmaster. So I'm going to start by doing 25 minutes of Stairmaster 5 to 6 times per week, which will roughly help me stay in my calorie deficit each day. I will probably need to up this as time goes on, but I'll talk about that more later on in the video. And now that we have our calorie deficit, now let's move on to our macros. So after figuring out my deficit, I'll be sitting at around 1,660 calories each day. And although being in a calorie deficit is the most important part about weight loss, eating the right macros is equally as important to make sure this loss is through fat and not muscle. First, let's start out with our most important macronutrient, and that is protein. Without getting too technical, protein is not only the building block for muscle, but also has a thermogenic effect on the body, meaning that 20 to 30% of the calories that you're eating from protein are used to digest that protein you're eating, which means by eating more protein, we're also burning more calories as a byproduct. So based on what research I have read and what both me and my family can withstand, because you know, the more protein you eat, the more diabolical your protein farts are, I'll be eating around 2.75 grams of protein per kilo of my body weight, which, if you don't want to do the math, is around 176 grams of protein each day. Now, some of you might think this is overkill, and you'd be right, but naturally I just prefer to eat higher protein diets, and this just works for me. But it doesn't have to work for you, and that is fine. Okay, so now that I have my protein intake all sussed out, I need to figure out my fat intake. Fats are demonized so much in the fitness space for some reason. Fats are actually essential for hormone function, to regulate our cycles as women, your recovery, and also play a role in how you're feeling on a daily basis. It's been suggested that around 20 to 35% of your calorie intake should come from fats, which equates to around 0.5 to 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight each day. I usually opt for the higher range here because I personally just feel like I feel a lot better when I'm eating a higher fat diet, and I'll aim to eat around 0.8 grams of fat per kilo of body weight each day, which equates to around 50 grams of fat for me. When I eventually do have to decrease my calories as time goes on, it is more than likely that I will pull that from carbs and not fats, because I like to keep my fats at around a minimum of 50 grams when I'm in a deficit. And lastly, I have to figure out how many carbs I'm going to be eating in this deficit, which I like to do after I've figured out my protein and my fats, and I'll just use whatever I have left over for my carbs. Now, I'll put up on the screen now how I figure out how many grams of carbs I should be eating in a day, but roughly it should equate to around 1.5 to 2 grams per kilo of body weight daily. So in my case, this is around 120 to 130 grams of carbs each day. Okay, so now that I have my diet and my cardio completely set up, let's take a quick look at my training. And by quick, I mean very quick. Over the next 8 weeks, I actually won't be changing my training at all. I'll be hitting the gym as usual, training like my life depends on it, and implementing progressive overload on all my lifts when I can. And that is it. There is no specific exercise that is going to help you with fat loss here, so I'll just be doing the usual and not overthinking it too much. Okay, now for step 4. What supplements shall I be taking over the next 8 to 9 weeks? And unfortunately, no, none of them will be special. Now, of course, like the saying goes, you don't need any supplements to lose fat or gain muscle. Supplements are exactly that. They are something that should be used to supplement something that you are not getting from your diet. Just focus on eating your whole foods includes like your lean cuts of meat, oily fish, eggs, dairy products like yogurt or cheese, your fruits and your veggies. And eating all that, you should be covered. But for those of us who hate fish or live in a depressing country like Scotland and only see 1 hour of sun one time every single year, you may need to supplement a thing or two. So personally, what I take are multivitamins, omegas, creatine and caffeine, and that is it. Okay, and finally, let's talk my long-term plan here. Like I said, my goal is to lose 1% of my body weight each week. So I'll simply decrease my calories or increase my cardio if I begin to stall in this goal weight loss each week. And usually I'll start by increasing my cardio by about 5 minutes for each session that I do cardio. And then if I stall again for a few weeks at a time, I will then decrease my calories by about 100 to 200 calories. As the weeks go on, I will cycle through this process by first increasing cardio and then decreasing calories, and then I will keep going until I am at my goal weight. At the end of the 60 days, all I am going to do is come out of my deficit and go straight to maintenance and eat at that for a few weeks. This should help me stabilize at my new weight and get used to eating at my new baseline calories. And then after that, I will be entering into a slow and long bulk to gain as much muscle as possible in the future. At the end of this entire process, I'm going to be doing another video to show you everything I'm doing throughout the entire 60 days. So get down there and subscribe to stay notified of that one going up. If you guys want to learn more about losing fat or losing weight in general, then I'll pop my fat loss guide down below for you to check out if you're interested. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I will catch you in 60 days time looking slightly less fluffy.